my favorite student. Good old Anne. So we crossed out number 1, Allie, and we crossed out number 2. That was the lesson that I skipped, so this quiz is really out of 12. Someone coming in? I'm hearing a door? Nope. A spaceship travels at 0.99. So somebody asked me, Mr. Duick, when do I know to use this? And when do I do the time dilation stuff? Well, if there's more than one time asked in the question. So here I have 8 years ship time, and it wants me to find time. I want an equation with, 2 times in it. Okay? Good morning, good morning. We're marking the take-home quiz. So the real question is this question asking me to find t or t0? And that's what you'll need to know for your test. Sorry? How do you know? Okay, and my dumb way of remembering it is t0 is time on board the spaceship or on board the moving object, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so I'm going to say t equals question mark. That means they gave me t0. Yeah, it's 8. V is 0.99 c. So I'm going to use t equals t0 over that square root thingy. Is that correct? I'm going from memory, yeah? So it's going to be 8 divided by the square root of 1 minus 0.99c over c all squared. Alicia, do you see? Do you see? Do you see? What do you see? What about those 2 c's? Okay. If I give you a percentage as a speed of light, that's the nice thing. I will, on your test, give you one question where I give you the speed in meters per second, and you'll have to then, for the c, put in 3 times 10 to the 8th and actually turn that into a decimal and then square it. But it's kind of nice if you have it as a percentage. I'm going to try typing this in one step. So if I wanted to type this in one step, as you're getting good on your calculators, it would be 8 divided by square root open bracket 1 minus 0.99 squared, close bracket. And I get, is it 56.7? Oh. The abbreviation for years is a lowercase a, but if you wrote years or you put a y there, I'm not going to freak out. It's just I'm a pedantic nerd, and so I have to use the right abbrev. If you got that right, 2 out of 2. Otherwise, I would give you 1 mark for the equation, 1 mark for the answer. Most common mistake, Donald, kids get t and t0 mixed up. And that I'm just going to say, do the homework, practice, and come up with your own dumb ways to keep them straight. Number 4 is the same question as number 3. In fact, I could almost do this. Try that again, Mr. Duick. I could go copy. I could go paste. What's the only difference? Instead of that and that are different. But it's still asking me to find time back on Earth. Time on board the ship is 12. We're traveling a little slower. So it's going to be 12 divided by a little slower. In fact, on my calculator, I could go backspace and edit, but I'll type it from scratch. 1 minus 0.96 squared. How many years go by back home on Earth? I totally forgot the divided by. Good morning.
Good morning, sorry I'm late.
Yeah. 42.9 if I round off properly. If you said 42.8, I would take a half mark off and I'd say learn to round off, please. We round off, we don't chop off. So 42.9 years. Next page. Ooh, number 5. Now I think they're asking me to find time on board the spaceship. So that must mean they gave me time back on Earth, 16. The speed is 99% of the speed of light. So t0, I think that's going to be time times the square root thing. How would I get the t0 by itself? Well, if I'm dividing by the square root, multiply it over the other side. So it's going to be 16 times 1 minus 0.99c over c all squared. Sophia, do you see? Do you see? Do you see? What do you see? Well, that's convenient. So if I'm typing this in, it's going to be 16 times square root, open a bracket, 1 minus 0.99 squared. Am I expecting an answer bigger or smaller than 16? Does time pass slower or faster on the spaceship? So less time. Yep, 2.23, sorry, 2.26, 2.3 if you said that, or 2.26, 2.257 if you said that. Years. Same as before, 1 mark for the equation, 1 mark for the answer. Number 6, same question as number 5. It's asking me to find time on board. Time back on Earth is 15 years. Now we're going even faster. We're going 99.5% of the speed of light. It's going to be t times that gamma thing. It's going to be 15 times the square root of 1 minus 0.995 c over c all squared. Naomi, do you see? Do you see? Do you see? What do you see? Well, that's convenient. Again, I'm going to expect an answer less than 15 because time slows down. By the way, what happens to the lengths of moving objects? Bigger or smaller? Smaller. What happens to the masses of moving objects? Increase or decrease? You said increase? You get, I guess, 1.5 if I round off. 1.50. This is kind of a nice one. So 99.5% of the speed of light, Xavier, it's almost a 10-to-1 time dilation ratio. It's almost bang on. Basically, for every 1 year on the spaceship, 10 years go by on the Earth. Now it wants a speed as a percentage of c. So I said, okay, v equals question mark. 8 years spaceship time, hey, that's t0. 100 years, that's time back home on Earth. So my equation for the speed is c square root of 1 minus, is it t0 over t all squared, or is it t over t0? Okay. If I want to leave it as a percentage of the speed of light, I'll just leave the c as a c, because that'll give me a do you see, do you see, do you see. Question, Logan? Sorry? Okay. Square root of 1 minus 8 divided by 100 squared. If you wanted to try typing this in one fell swoop, you would square root, open up a bracket, 1 minus, open up another bracket, 8 divided by 100, close that mini bracket off, square it, and then close off your square root. And I get 0.996. You know, that 7 is probably a good place to round off because right next to it is a 9. So 0.9968. Or 99.68% of the speed of light. So if you wrote your answer like that or like that, I would give you 2 marks. I don't care. So it would be 1 mark for that and then 1 mark for the answer. Is that okay? Yeah. 959C? 9, like you wrote 0.959? Did you have the right numbers? Yeah. So I'd give you probably, right now, a 1, because you either made a calculator typo or you read your answer wrong. Then I'd give you the frowning of a lifetime. So you went 0.997? I'm okay with that. The only thing I would say is don't round to 2, because then you'd be saying you're going 100% of the speed of light, and we said yesterday, you can't, because you'd need infinite energy. Unless the object had no mass, which is a spaceship. So Must have some mass. Number 8, same kind of question, but this time, Rachel, we want the answer in meters per second. Okay. V equals question mark? It looks like T0 is 20, and it looks like time, we want to come back in the year 3021. And all of us, you're all 17? So you would come back at age 37 in the year 3021. Wow. Okay. Same equation. V is going to be C times the square root of 1 minus T0 over T all squared. So it's going to be, this time they want the answer in meters per second. So instead of leaving the C as a C, I'll plug it in as a number. Please make sure you know where that is on your formula sheet. You might have memorized it like Braden, because it's a fairly easy one to memorize because you're lazy, and I get that. But if you blank out or you forget, it's on your sheet on the back page in the relativity section. It's going to be 820 divided by 1,000 squared. So if I wanted to type this in one step, I would go 3, scientific notation button 8, times square root, open up a bracket, 1 minus, open up a bracket, 20 divided by 1,000, close off the mini bracket, square that, close off the square root. And I get this one here. If you rounded this off to 3, I would kind of say, well, now you're saying you're going the speed of light. I'm going to carry a bunch of sig figs. In fact, I'll probably go 2.9994 times 10 to the 8th. How many nines? 3 nines and then a 4. If you wrote the whole thing, that's fine. Okay. Going really close to the speed of light. What would that be as a percentage? Good question. 99.979998% of the speed of light. You're really going pretty close to the speed of light. Oh, that was it. Can you give yourself a lovely, same as before, by the way, 1 mark. 1 mark. Can you give yourself a lovely score out of 12, please? Any lawyering with me? Now is the time.